2 hours in the morning, 2 hours on the afternoon on the bowling machine at 85 mile an hour swinging in the channel, in those areas which are, that Anderson, Broad, Wokes, etc. are going to try and expose. I think it would be a lot of repetition, and then within that, working out the judgment of what to play, what to leave. And what I liked when he did have to play, I thought he played really late and straight. His defensive shots were tight, full face of the bat. He looked really, really solid. Clearly England have looked at that footage, they've had a good look at him, they've gone over the wicket in this test match, and Anderson managed to get him very early on in the first innings from over the wicket, swinging it back in, so pitching it on the stumps, and then sort of exposing him that way. So maybe they're going to go at a different tack now, and that again, in a series you're constantly analysing what the opposition are coming at. Shan Masood might have to think, right, if that's where they're coming at me now, maybe I've got to adjust a little bit as I go forward in the next 2 or 3 innings that I have on this series.
Well, one parallel with that West Indies series is the Travais, the difficulties of the number 3 for West Indies, Shai Hope, for Pakistan, Azhar Ali. What advice would you give to him? What is he doing wrong? He's in a bad trot, and many people are saying they can spot a flaw in his technique. How have you seen it?
Well, I mean, Az is a fine player who scored a lot of runs, but he, again, like a lot of players when they come to England against a high-quality bowling attack, pitches that are a bit juicy, a Duke's ball that seams and swings all day long, it's a real tough test of a technique. My feeling watching Az, and I've posted a bit of stuff on my own website, where he stands, he shows you off stump, right? And if the bowlers are going to bowl off stump in the channel, the natural movement to want to get onto the line of the ball is to go across the line. So his first movement, nearly always, to a ball that starts outside off stump, Azhar Ali is nearly always lining up towards off to mid-off. Now, the minute the ball swings in, and we know with Wokes and Broad especially, absolutely brilliant at angling and nipping the ball back in, because they did it to a lot of the West Indies batters. If you're heading in that direction, the minute it changes, you're going one way and the ball's coming back the other. So he's forced in the end to fall across the ball and play across his front pad. I would like to see him bring his back foot slightly closer to off stump, so that when
Toby,
the ball then... Yes.
Well, no, I understand what you're saying, but how come he's gone into this bad trot? Has he started to do this recently? Because surely he's a very successful batsman and he scored a lot of runs before until recently.
But where? You've got to look, batting in Sharjah, batting in Abu Dhabi is so different. The wickets are flat, they don't use a Duke's ball. The ball does not swing and seam anywhere, probably New Zealand occasionally, but there's nowhere else where it will move all day long to the amount and extent and as late as it does in England, which is why Virat Kohli averaged 16, I think, one time when he was, world-class players. So a technique, we're talking about a high-end player who gets runs in many parts of the world, but
including Somerset, he must have had, a little bit of experience there.
And how good is that wicket?
Oh yeah,
that's as flat as they come.
Right.
No, the point I'm making is you don't get much better than Wokes, Broad, Anderson with the Dukes on these wickets. There's a lot in this wicket. I mean, they must have passed about 60 times in 2 days here. So this isn't a real criticism of him, but you can have little flaws that don't get exposed on certain pitches around the world against certain bowlers. And I think here, I'd love to see him make a little adjustment, bring his back foot over and not go. He goes very early to the starting line of the ball. And the secret, again, swing, seam movement, anytime the ball is moving, don't go to where the ball starts, track it and go to where the ball ends. Now, when you watch Babar Azam, he's a wonderful player. He doesn't go to the early line. He watches the ball, and you'll see Babar move his head and his foot to where the ball ends up. What you're seeing with Azhar Ali, he's moving very early. The ball's halfway down, and he's already moving to mid-off. Now, the minute that ball swings or seams back at the stumps, he's got to fall across it. He plays across the front pad, and he's LBW again. And he's been LBW a lot in England, especially. So that's it. I think it's solvable, but I'd love to see him bring his back foot over, and he's got to wait longer. He's got to meet the finishing line of the ball. That's it.
Well, I'm talking to Toby Radford, and we're talking slightly earlier than the delayed tea time because the players went off for bad light and took an early tea. So it's Pakistan 215 for 8. Comparing then, sort of the West Indies series. Now we've got this Pakistan series. Do you think that with Yunus Khan taking the batting coach role, he must have written the equivalent of a novel in that book. Any
Yeah.
idea what he's writing in that book? Did you keep a book? And what does Yunus Khan write in his book?
Well, I mean, you do. You keep your notes on your players, how people have bowled at them, the sort of fields they set at them, maybe an innings. You might be making notes during a player's innings about how you felt the tempo of the innings was, maybe questions for when you chat to them at the end of the game, going into the next game, etc. So I'm sure all those type of things he'll be noting down, and you know how they're going to look to combat the things that come up against. You know, that's the role of the batting coach, and you know, clearly he's in constant communication with the players, you know, during the game and moving forward into the next Test match.
Every batting coach, I guess, has their own approach. I mean, Graham Thorpe obviously was the batting coach. I think he's now assistant coach. Jonathan Trott has come in, I see, as batting coach. You know, what would be, you know, do you think, any idea how Jonathan Trott would approach this sort of role, or and have you had much contact with Graham Thorpe yourself?
I've done little bits of work with Graham, and often when we've played against England with the West Indies, you know, I might be in the net next door to him and you'd have a bit of chat, or you'd chat on the aeroplane or in the hotel. So I've had chats with Graham. I think it's excellent. Jonathan Trott, I've obviously watched him play. I've not seen him work, and I've not worked with him. I think the interesting thing, when players go straight from playing into high-end coaching jobs, the danger is that they try to coach the way they played and what worked for them. And I think what you learn through lots of years of experience of coaching on the job is that you've got to work out what works for the player first, and don't have just one method of coaching. So I think that's almost my sort of, you know, would be my bit of advice almost to someone coming straight into coaching, having just finished playing. Be careful that you don't think everyone's got to play the way that you played. And what worked for you might not work for them. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Thorpe's been coaching for a long time. He's an experienced coach, isn't he? You know, obviously was a fine player as well. So you've got to learn the job of coaching, I think, not just feel that actually what works for me will work for every batter that I then go and work with. You know? Yeah,
no, indeed. Don't know, the covers are still on at the moment. I don't know whether we know what's going to happen. So, Toby, where are you? You're based now in Cardiff. You're doing the online, mainly the online coaching and stuff.
Yeah.
Does that mean you would follow Glamorgan as the county, or are you still a Middlesex person?
Well, I follow the different places I worked at. I mean, I follow Middlesex. Obviously, spent a lot of time there with the academy and with the first team. So. Probably 8 or 10 years in total, I would have thought, at Middlesex. So I still follow their results. I'm just down the road from Glamorgan. I work there, so I follow their scores. So you tend to always follow the teams you worked at, and there'll be players there that you want to see how they're getting on because you're good friends with them, or you've spent a lot of time with them. So no, I always follow the county scores and like to see how teams are developing.
And were you interested? Obviously, the return of county cricket last couple of weeks has been quite. Interesting, hasn't it, with the Bob Willis Trophy?
No, I think it's brilliant. I think there was a period 3 or 4 months ago where we thought maybe we wouldn't have a season at all, and I know some people are saying, oh, it's not the same watching sport without crowds. And look, I'm just delighted that we've got sport back. Whether there's one person there or 100,000, it's nice to be seeing professional sport again, football, cricket, and whatever. So I'm just delighted it's all back on. Good for the players to be playing again.
I was going to say, Toby, it must be great for the players. Because going a whole season without a game, I mean, that would be tough, wouldn't it? I imagine they're delighted to get back out there.
Yeah, and they work. The summer in England is often short with the weather. We have a long winter here, so they look forward to it all winter. They train in the indoor school, they're in the gym all the time, and to potentially lose the whole season or lose half of it's tough for them. So it's nice for them to be back playing and us to be able to. I mean, a lot of the counties now are streaming matches, so if there's certain players I'm working with privately, I'm able to follow how they're playing. I can see them playing live, which is great, just by streaming on their own county websites, which is brilliant, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's much improved. Surrey and Somerset, 2 of the counties have really improved their streaming and got the action replays, and you can see the ball when it leaves the square. Yeah, it's the future, isn't it? It's good. Yeah. I'm just about to choke on my water, Toby.
Don't do that.
Oh, that's better. Can I just give a quick shout out? Don't interrupt, but I have to give a quick shout out to James Knights, who's returning to cricket. He has to go into quarantine. He's just returned from Spain, one of our leading club cricketers down in Sussex. and he has to quarantine for 2 weeks, so it means he's going to miss the matches this weekend, which I know he's disappointed to miss out there. But that's the perils of this biosecure bubble. You daren't take a holiday.
No, and the same happening with people going to France now, isn't it? And they're desperately trying to get back before the date comes in. So people trying to jump on a ferry or on the Eurotunnel, I think. But no, difficult. My holiday's going to be West Wales, I think, 50 miles west next week. I won't go any further than that. So
take your umbrella. Take your umbrella. Let's. The covers are coming off. That's the good news. The ground staff, obviously the umpires came out, immediately given instructions to the ground staff, and might we see a prompt resumption, or do we have to wait the obligatory 20 minutes or whatever? When it's bad light stops play, surely as soon as the covers are off, you come back out. If the umpires have asked for the covers to be removed. Yeah, and they've obviously got their reading. I would imagine they've got their reading that they can't drop below, etc. How do you see this series then, Toby? Let's put you on the spot. England with that extraordinary victory. Did you see any of the events of the last day, the fourth day of the first test? I did. I think that's going to have a bearing on the outcome of the series, that type of result. I mean, with obviously, I thought Josh Buttler played really well. I think his batting's looked good the last few innings. I know he's had a lot of stick. But it was good to see a guy go away, work on his game. They did some interviews, talked about he'd worked on his balance, he'd gone away and worked. And the last couple of innings I've seen, he's looked a different player. I thought he played really well. Woke's terrific innings, super guy, one of the nicest guys playing international cricket. Pleased for him. So I don't think Pakistan got it right. I would have liked to have seen them, old Yazir Shah, unchanged from one end. That would have. They might still be trying to get the runs. England came very attacking at him and knocked him out of the attack. And then they brought the seamers back and runs started to flow quickly. And I just thought Pakistan should have stuck with Yazir because he's a world-class bowler. And it's going to be very hard to get close on 300 runs with him bowling at one end all afternoon. And that's possibly where I think they might have got it wrong. But saying that, I thought England were very positive at him. They knocked him out of the attack. And the minute they did that, everything got a bit easier for them. Buttler and Wokes were terrific. It was a great win. It was a really great win. So what's your prediction then for the series now? Well, I don't think they're far away from being on a reasonable score here. I mean, this wicket, there's a lot in this wicket. I mean, if Mohamed Abbas bowls the way he can bowl, the line of length and gets nipped the same way the England bowler, he could easily pick up some quick wickets. If they got somewhere near 250, I think they've got a good score on this wicket. So there's no Stokes in the middle order. It's not going to be easy for England. I don't think you're ever in on this wicket. I just don't think you're in. You've got to battle all day long to get your runs. And you have to say this is a good Test match wicket. Got thing and GS Bowl has produced a few in very recent years. So it's going past the reputation it had in the early days, I think. As being slow and low, and it's actually there's definitely something in it, and it'd be interesting to see how Mohamed Abbas and others bowl in it. But before that, Mohamed Abbas is going to resume his innings on 2 not out. He's played a fantastic foil for Mohamed Rizwan. Just before you go, Toby, let's have your thoughts on the wicketkeeper batsman Mohamed Rizwan. I mean, he's looked good, hasn't he? He really has. He's been busy. Again, I think the key thing is that you can't expect to play on these type of pitches and be perfect. You're not going to get everything in the middle of the bat. You're not going to play faultless innings. You're going to play and miss. You might have the odd edge go down, go through third man. You've got to put the ball that's gone before away and play the next one. I think he's done that really well. And I thought, trying to think, number 3, lost on it. Well, yes, absolutely. I thought he did the same as well. I think that key of being solid mentally, put the ball that's gone before away, play the next ball. I think he's been running. When he's had the counter punch, he's gone and done that as well. I thought he's been excellent. Brilliant. So, Toby, really just before you go, you work with Stuart Law, now Middlesex coach. I think he was your coach at West Indies. Yes. Now, I just want you to back up this story for Not Fred, who's coming into the commentary box. Sunil Narayan. I asked Stuart Law on one occasion, I said, why isn't Sunil Narayan playing like more 50-over cricket and Test cricket? He said, because he doesn't get up in the mornings. He's a creature of the night. Can you confirm or deny that story, please, Toby? I don't think that's the reason he doesn't play. Sorry about that.
No, I don't think that's the reason he doesn't play. He picks and chooses when he wants to play, and he plays some tournaments, and then other tournaments he just doesn't want to play in them. So you never really know with him. Look, he's world class. We would have loved to have had him all the time in all the different competitions, but you just never really knew when he'd make himself available or when he wouldn't.
Toby, thanks for joining us.
Nice to chat,
Hope
Dave.
you'll come back during the next test. We got some footage we want you to look at from Toby Tarrant, the DJ.
Oh, look forward to it. Yeah, look forward to that.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Dave.
And thanks very much to you, Toby. Toby Radford there, batting coach with the West Indies, and before that with Middlesex and the University West Indies, the high performance centre over there. And Toby be bringing his insights back to us, hopefully, where he's going to join us during the next test. Also, you can send us any videos of yourself batting, and we'll get Toby to analyse them for you, because he sure as hell sorted me out the other day. Toby, I got 61 last week. Oh, he's gone. Sam, welcome back to Ian, who's joining us, I think, for the first time today. And also with Ian, we have...
well, it's meant to be Jono, Ian, and Tony. Here is Jono, so I'll jump off.
Well, I thought I was on at 4:45, but here we go.
It's like a well-oiled machine, this anyway. Ian is with you, Jono. I'll leave it in your capable hands.
Thank you very much. Afternoon, Ian.
Hi, Jono. All right.
All right, mate.
All right. Afternoon, Apple.
As Wokes in now, first ball after the break to Rizwan, left alone, and through to the keeper for no run. Seamless.
Yeah, they took an early tee with the bad light. So this rotor has had plenty of redrafts, but that's the way it rolls. Yeah, good to be back commentating with you, Ian. It's been a while. And you get to see a test from your second home, the Aegeus Bowl.
That's right.
It's Wokes in again now, again to Rizwan, straighter this time, and played and missed by Rizwan 2-2.
Yeah, let's get some jingles, shall we?
He's on Instagram, and he's a Twitter fan. On the Ashes tour, not Ben Stokes, but he'll have to do. Everyone knows he's not here to bowl, he's
There, Wokes in, and this time left alone by Rizwan as that takes place in the run.
He bats, he keeps, and that's what the deal is, because he's Muhammad Rizwan. I don't want to be crass, but it's time for Muhammad Abbas.
So we just listening to the Sky commentary when I should have been in here setting up for my next stint, but we'll move past that as quickly as we can. They were saying that you reckon the England boys will have been upstairs talking about why they decided to move away from bowling a proper line and length to banging it in short here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that. I think, isn't that always the temptation against tailenders? I mean, you'll know better than me, but isn't it? You think, I'll intimidate them and they won't be here for long.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd bowl differently at a tail ender than you would to a top order batsman.
I don't know either, but I just wonder if you had any sort of more...
Well, and perhaps more pressingly, why would you bowl differently to Mohammad Rizwan than you'd bowl to a top 7 batter?
Brought in now to start his 25th. That is probably dead. Thank you. That is out.
Yeah, that is out. That is a third wicket for this man.
Sweep the leg, Brody. Got the best headband around. Something has gotta keep her down. Got the best headband around. Your ego ain't gonna be kept down. Got the best headband around. Even though your hair is thin now.
Martin with the bus, channeling his inner Shane Watson by reviewing it.
I was definitely in. Were you definitely in?
I suppose 2 wickets left, 3 wickets in hand. Why the hell not? But that looks absolutely stone dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is.
Yeah, Shane Watson. That is the cricketing analogy that will never ever cease to be funny. I still don't know what he was thinking of. So I put Brody there, obviously looking at the other lads like, what they on earth do in that ball.
Yeah.
Can't really be blamed with, I think, at least 2 reviews left. So we were saying earlier on Comms Knuckle that 200 would have been England's aim, with Pakistan probably looking to get to 225 and think they were probably still in the game there. I think that 215, they're still kind of in it here, fellas.
I think they are. I mean, I've seen many games at this ground where 220, 230 might win you the game and be okay.
Yeah, and I don't think Mohammed Abbas will be too disappointed about the bowling on it tonight. To be fair, we should salute. It's a pretty obdurate knock from Mohammed Abbas. 2 off 20 balls. I think 2 off 20 balls. It gave good support to Mohammed Rizwan in that partnership of 39.
Who's on tweets? Are you on tweets?
Yeah, I've got some tweets. Yeah, Jeff Perkins. Was Toby gone, or did Dave's claim of a recent 61 cause him to faint or worse? And Sports Tiger are back with us after tea, so welcome to you and everyone following via that. We've relocated the Bishop.
I was brought in to, I think that looked like, it might have been Naseem Shah, but that's worked out. Yeah, it was indeed to number 11, Naseem Shah, and that's worked down to backward square for one of these. We should jingle him.
I'll play Naseem's jingle and then let Tony in.
When Naseem Shah left home, he said to his dad that you're the man of the house now, because Naseem Shah is just that good.
Tweet from Lee.
Seeing a replay of that broad wicket there, LBW.
Just quickly get this tweet in from Lee. I think Shane Watson is the only batsman out plumb LBW in both innings of the Test, having the fact confirmed by reviewing it in both instances. That sounds right to me.
Brought in now to Mohammed Rizwan, who kind of half charges him and whops him over a wide long off, but obviously hasn't kind of clothed it a little bit as he'll walk back towards Josh Butler to complete a 2. Mr. Bishop, I have a sense of calm washes over me every time I know that you're with me.
I can't imagine why. I'm more likely to fuck up than most people. But there we go. What am I supposed to be doing?
You're on summarising, I believe.
Oh, I thought so. At 4:45, which in my world hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah, same, mate. I had a text from Knuckle saying, "Where the hell are you supposed to be on?" I shot into the office.
Are you telling me that the ECB isn't adhering to Knuckle's revised timetable?
As brought in again now, that's the real good delivery. Pitching in that corridor of uncertainty, as one Jeffrey Boycott might refer to it, and that's through to the keeper, Butler, for no run.
About as uncertain as Knuckle's timings.
And the brilliant thing is, although he has got a microphone handy, he can't use
it. Oh, he will, don't worry.
Oh no, he's not, he's put it down, good lad. Wry smile there from
I can see Ian Pearce.
Yeah, hi Tony.
Are you moving? Yes, you are.
Brought in again now to Rizwan, who's on 55. That one slightly shapes, and that's a glorious drive through the covers, and that will bring one of these. What a gloriously cold glass of Whispering Angel Rosé delivered by the wife. Done to that time on a Friday. Lovely draw.
Whispering Angel Rosé.
It's beautiful. Very, very nice. Especially lovely on a rainy day in southwest London.
Country of origin for Whispering Angel Rosé?
Not into French, I think. I think it's owned by Brad Pitt. I think. Funny. Yeah. I'll double check the origin. But yeah, it's a lovely drop.
Okay.
As Broad approaches now, passed on by Kettleborough, and that is just dabbed down, kind of fumbled by Rory Burns from a running dive from second slip, and Rizwan completes a 1 to move on to 60 from 116, completes the 86, 223 for 9. Ian?
Nothing, it's quiet. I think people have been caught out, like yourselves, with the revised timings.
Right, 4:45 now. They'll wake up. There'll be a plethora of messages any second, I'm sure.
How are we doing on our various
Have a
other
look at the-
platforms? Hot
yeah, I'm
mic.
going to have a gander on Quick Tracker for anything.
I
What
see
have we
Leah's with
got?
us. Did you mention Leah's?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Wow, that was quick.
Vicky Roy,
The light meter's back out, gents.
Ahmed Balaj Khan, predicting 2-3-4 for Pakistan.
Probably a decent shout.
Hmm.
Thing at the moment is, I mean, before you came on, Ian, it's the perennial question of what is a good score, and in a game that's going to have more interruptions in it, on a wicket that's offering a bit of help, and overhead conditions that certainly are going to help out a decent seam attack. They're coming off, by the way.
Right.
Approaching 250 may not be half bad. This is what a lot of people were thinking.
I think with the Pakistani bowling attack, and we've covered this off a few times, they bowl very, considering they're a subcontinental side, and the maybe misconception based on what Knuckle was saying about how the wickets are a lot greener now than they may have used to have been. They bowl exceptionally well in English conditions. Like they turned us over at Lords. I've mentioned this a few times. The last time they were here, because they bowled full at the top of off stump and just kept nicking the English lads off, and LBW's bowled, and so then it's not like they're not going to know how to bowl in our conditions. They bowl exceptionally well in our conditions. So I think Sibley and Burns will have a job on their hands tonight if they do get to go out and have a go.
Well, there's a discussion going on with the trio, at least two of the Pakistan bowling attack, about balls to use. I see them having a good look at 2 or 3.
Yeah, generally they'll generally try and pick the darkest one. I mean, certainly in league cricket, we'll try and pick the darkest one if there's a bit of cloud about, because the idea being that it'll swing more. And then you just rub your fingers around the seam, just see if any feel slightly more pronounced than others. They're all pretty similar seam-wise because they're hand-stitched. But yeah, if you can get slightly darker leather, then you'd think generally that'll swing a bit more. Always give the opposition a really light coloured one.
Yeah, says a man who's now making his career out of selling cricket equipment. You could do that on your website. These are the balls for when you're bowling. These are the ones to offer the opposition. Be some sort of basically square-shaped old piece of rag.
Ball with red ones, bat against white ones. That's the key.
Well, the key question at the moment, I think, is what's going to happen here. I mean, they've gone off for bad light, not rain. Those lights that we are looking at are shining very brightly indeed. So they've taken a reading. And that reading, was that the first light reading of the day, or had there been one before that?
They went off, the last one was, they went off a bad light, but apparently they took a reading yesterday as well.
So that's it for the test then, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to get better than that.
There was a panoramic shot that we just saw there that looked like there was some lighter weather, but it just depends on whether that's gone past the ground, and that's what brought them back out rather than what's currently, or whether that's on its way, and I think that will determine how quickly, if at all, they manage to get back out.
Normally the weather comes from Southampton, so the Shane Warne stand, which is the one, if you're looking out from the pavilion, is to the left.
Out to the
and
left.
the cloud comes from behind that normally.
Right.
And hopefully, it's a bit brighter in that direction.
Yeah, it was the other way, I think.
Unfortunately, normally that's where it's gone or going. And at the same time, if it comes over the Ingleby Mackenzie stand from towards Portsmouth, they're saying if rain comes from over there, then just forget it and pack up and go home for the day.
Oh, right. Well, that's your local knowledge, because it's your home ground, isn't it? And indeed, you commentate there. Oh, you used to do. You still do that?
Yeah, as soon as I'm allowed to, I'll be doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously I've not been there since last September.
So which way do you feel it's going at the moment? So if it's coming from Bournemouth, we might as well all give up and go home. If it's going the other way, it's not so bad, is that right?
If you're looking at the screen now, and I know not all listeners can see that, but pavilion, to the right of pavilion, as you look at it, it's Shane Warne. So that way is Southampton. And then to the left of the pavilion is the Ingleby Mackenzie, and that's Portsmouth.
Okay.
And generally, if it comes from Portsmouth,
Not. Yeah.
it's day-ending stuff.
Okay.
If it's from Southampton, it often moves through quite quickly. So let's hope it's Southampton rather than
Southampton.
Pompey.
Okay. Fair enough.
I've got some more tweets. Lee tweeted again, that Nazim jingle with hints of Manila Road, recalling the glory days of the 80s and 90s. And Nestler's got a question for you, Jono. Are you near the Antelope pub in Surbiton?
Yes, I am, Nestler's. Not far away at all. It's probably a 7-minute walk.
Anna Forsyth, I've never played cricket outside of the beach or garden, but I really want to own Rizwan's batting gloves. They're so snazzy. And Fred Titmus, Ian won over Pearce. Lee, Pakistan bowling attack to have a luxury of at least 23 runs to bowl to enforce the follow-on. Advantage Pakistan, I'd say. I think if Pakistan gets a bowl tonight, it very much is advantage, whereas if they can't get on to tomorrow, it hands it back to England.
That's a really, really interesting point, because whilst, do you almost feel if England can keep the scoring rate down, they'd rather see tonight off? I mean, potentially that's 2 hours, isn't it? Because we're due to go till 7, aren't we? But with this light, Southampton or Portsmouth bound weather or from weather, it's hard to see that actually happening. So you'd almost feel, if you were Joe Root, you'd rather send your 2 openers out fresh in the morning, wouldn't you? And even if it cost you 20 runs tonight, I guess kind of the equation is how much are you prepared to give away in terms of runs for the advantage, if it's that, of not batting tonight.
A double night watchman.
Come Anderson and Broad to open. Well, they wouldn't be Broad. He's a batsman, You wouldn't be counting him as the opener. You might send out one night watchman with a view to taking maybe more of the strike. Johnny, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, you could send someone out like Wokes, who's number 8, who can bat and bat well, as we've seen. I don't think you wouldn't send Jimmy out for 10 overs. I think that's pointless, or even Broad. I think you'd have to send someone with some semblance of technique and solid.
But then Wokes is kind of your closest replacement in this test for Ben Stokes. You wouldn't go, Ben, do you mind popping out as night watchman?
Yeah, maybe you'd send.
Were he playing? Would you say?
Send Sam Curran out. I just think we've seen it happen before where the sides have lost 2 wickets late in the day by trying to go about it that way, and then all of a sudden you're 2 down and it's going out to face the last 3 overs anyway. So look, they're opening batsmen for a reason. I just personally stick with the normal. My inclination has always been to only really change a batting order if you were wanting to get off to a bit of a flyer. It's obviously slightly different in one-day cricket, but that'd be then you can send out someone who likes to.
Don Bess would be the logical choice, wouldn't he?
Yeah, potentially Don Bess. Yeah.
I mean, surely you'd rather, if you have to have sacrifice one, which of course is the inherent risk of the night watchman anyway. Surely you'd sacrifice Bess over Wokes. I'm not saying
Bess would be really keen to do something, because I think I saw something from Knuckle earlier. It was saying if he doesn't bowl in this innings, that's his 3rd TFC in a row.
Yep. No, I agree. You do start to wonder. But I honestly, I don't think 220 odd is at the moment is at all a bad score. And were they to get it to 250, I'd seriously say that's an extremely competitive score. I'm with Leah on that, 100%. It's not at all a bad shout.
Do we know what the forecast is for that area tomorrow? Is it better than today?
Ian, you're the local man.
As far as
otherwise, I'll have a look.
Looks generally at the moment, they've sort of given the vague forecast that it could be similar. I think the difference will be that overnight we're not expecting a lot of rain, so there's a better chance of starting on time tomorrow.
Right.
I can tell you right now, I'm looking at tomorrow in SO30. And let me see, 11 o'clock cloudy, but it's a big dark cloud, 22% chance of rain. then slightly lighter clouds. Lunchtime, just after lunch actually, 2 o'clock, much increased chance of rain, and then from 3 o'clock onwards, thunder and lightning.
Good.
Thunder and lightning through to early evening. So play tomorrow, possibly in the morning, definitely going to be interrupted. I mean, it can all change. It's all very changeable at the moment, but that's always tricky as well for a batting side. On, off, on, off, on, off. You know, poor Pakistan, they won the toss. They started off very nicely, came back out, and all of a sudden it was like two completely different characters of conditions that they had to bat in. The ball started doing things when they came out the second time.
Yeah.
That it hadn't even begun to look like doing early doors, didn't it?
Yeah, it's funny with the way. I mean, you know, would England take a draw in the second test through inclement weather? Look, of course they'd have wanted to win the second test and wrap the series up 2-0, but, you know, I think the weather's pretty... It's not a settled forecast, let's say, even right through until the end of Monday, so England might be quite happy to go into the third test 1-0 up, you know, and looking at it that way, but it's quite a negative mindset.
It is, because, I mean, at the moment, whilst they would take the draw, they'd also be thinking, oh, we've got Pakistan in a bit of trouble here, so let's you know, put the foot down on that occasion. A few more tweets. Jules talking about Shane Watson. I think he did that for a whole series once. Lee, wasn't it the Ashes, Chesterley Street in 2013 for Watson double reviews? Very probably. Farong has given us a rain radar site, suggests the wind is coming from the southeast, which is the Portsmouth direction.
No, that's not good, right?
And Anna Forsyth, good luck getting Jimmy to be night watchman.
Yes. Yeah, he may not be that keen on the idea, to be fair.
Neymar Butland says it's quite cloudy in LA, so he's wondering if that comes in from Southampton or Portsmouth. Perhaps it's Bournemouth for LA.
Ships used to leave from Southampton to head US-wise, Wade, didn't they? But that was to the east coast, obviously. The Titanic left from Southampton, didn't it? Yeah. Not that I'm making any analogies with that in English cricket.
The Mayflower.
The Mayflower. I thought that left from Portsmouth. Or was that a sacrilegious thing to say to her?
Plymouth as well, I think. Certainly got some sort of Southampton. There's a Mayflower.
I think of Plymouth
in Southampton. Is there? I'm sure there is.
Maybe it was me. Was it Bill? I don't know. Now you've got me. I definitely think of the Pilgrim Fathers as associated with Plymouth.
Yeah. No, there's certainly, because there's the Pilgrim Steps in Plymouth as well, so completely muddle up the two cities. Ralph, the Wonder Llama, further to my earlier comment, I think this is a challenging score in these conditions. Unfortunately, I suspect the weather will rob us of a fascinating contest.
Well, you never know, but I kind of fear that might be the case. I mean, we thought that in the last test.
We'll get enough good weather to see a result still, but it is certainly denying us of what could have been a really, really good passage of play this evening.
Unless England were 16 for 3 again.
That'd still be interesting.
Well, yeah, that's true. Eventful.
It'd be interesting,
Yeah. The more I hear us chat and think about it, the more I think secretly Joe Root would be more than happy to call it a day and start to work and see what he wakes up to look at.
Yeah. As we all know, weather in the UK can change, and you know, overnight, if the wind blows a bit harder, it can blow the bad weather through overnight, and you wake up to blue skies tomorrow, and then, you know, as an England batting lineup, you'd be pretty happy with what you woke up to, but certainly no guarantees of that. So yeah, I don't. I mean, last time we saw the actual ground, it looked like the umpires were out there having a discussion about, you know, how long it'd take. Obviously, it's a much better scenario than if it was raining, because they're not having to worry about getting covers off, what have you. But yeah, I think they don't want to see people get injured, do they? And I think, you know, if you've got lads of any sort of pace, certainly against, you know, one tail ender at one end, even though Rizwan's a pretty solid batsman at the other one, they don't want to put anybody at kind of undue risk. I understand it from that point of view, as much as we'd all love to be watching live cricket right now. I'm sure the three of us can find some equally unfascinating things to wiggle about.
Well, it's Ian's manor, isn't it? Your years watching
Yeah, I've watched
cricket at Southampton.
Yeah, I mean the pitches these days. It's quite interesting to see what the pitch was going to be like, because there's a new groundsman this year, signed from Somerset.
Oh, indeed. So we could expect a raging Turner on day 5, could we?
Well, because I mean everyone was sort of expecting them to be raging Turners, because Hampshire had signed Nathan Lyon as an overseas player.
Yep.
But at the same time, we had pretty decent seam attack in Kyle Abbott, Fidel Edwards, so I didn't think that they were going to be raging Turners. They would certainly be trying to put a pitch together to help spin, but Lyon was just kind of the missing piece in the jigsaw to try and get us a first championship since 1973.
Well, have you got Kyle Abbott this year? Is he coming back, or would have been?
He would have come back. Yeah, he stayed in South Africa when he was going to be heading back. He's done a sort of Marcus Rashford type job in terms of feeding children in South Africa.
Good for him.
Yeah, less advantaged. And Fidel Edwards has stayed in Barbados, and unfortunately I don't think he'll be back next year, because of course 2021 there's no coal packs allowed in to county cricket. So obviously Carl will probably sign as the overseas player.
Yeah.
I'd be in favour of signing Fidel as the second overseas player that you're going to be allowed. But it sounds like from the noises the club are making that they're going to look to go somewhere else for that second overseas player.
And Nathan Lyon therefore drops out of the equation, does he?
Well, maybe it will be Abbott and Lyon as the overseas players, perhaps.
That'd make you pretty formidable. I
I
have to say.
feel like ideally we'd need Edwards as well, because his slingy pace is
I don't. Nathan
very,
Lyon.
very
He's
effective.
always portrayed as a bit of a bad guy, isn't he, Nathan Lyon? I think because he said a few out of place things in a couple of recent Ashes series, didn't he? But I watched him. I've seen him probably therefore more recently than you, because I watched him in February when I was watching New South Wales play Victoria at the SCG.
Oh, right.
And he was utterly charming. All the other players had gone in for tea. Nathan Lyon was the one who stayed out there with the kids and chatting to them and signing autographs and lobbing balls at them. And he just seemed like, it often strikes me that the public face you see, particularly in international cricket, becomes a very sort of local, quite friendly one when they go back to their roots. And that was very. I just said hi to him. He said hello. He recognised I was English, so we had a quick chat, all that kind of stuff. And he just struck me as a first-rate, decent bloke who was thoroughly enjoying just playing their equivalent of county cricket, Shield cricket.
I wonder with Lyon if it was just the sort of the pressure of the Ashes press conference and the hype that perhaps he was sort of being egged on to say. I don't know if inappropriate is the right word, but yeah, he wasn't particularly nice words that he said, about hoping to end careers and things like that.
Yes, that was it. I was trying to remember what he said, but you're right.
But then, everyone obviously had a good laugh at his fumble against against Leach and Stokes. So
funny enough, I didn't mention that.
The game coming back to bite him on the arse. So.
I thought that's not a good way to endear yourself. That was probably the only POM insight on that particular day, and I didn't think I wanted to be the one to remind him of that, so I kept it off the agenda.
Ian, whatever happened to... I remember there was a young wonder kid who was playing, I think, on an ancestral passport or visa, who bowled absolute rocket. Brad Wheel.
Yeah, Brad Wheel's still around.
Right, because he first comes to the scene. I remember watching him in a T20 game at Hove, and he was absolutely brilliant. But since I've not really heard too much about him.
Yeah, he's had a lot of injury issues. He qualifies, I think he's got Scottish mother or father.
Okay.
He's played a few ODIs for Scotland as well. But I mean, he's still only about 21, 22, so he's still got plenty of time, and he's got quite a long contract, so they've certainly not given up on him.
Yeah.
But again, he's still back in South Africa, so we're without him for the Bob Willis things. I was just saying he was a subfielder in the last, so he must have come back into the country. So yeah, you might see him over the next few weeks, because we had another injuries to our Liam Dawson and Ryan Stevenson, the other seam bowler.
Okay. Pictures of Glenn McGrath there, the old English that used to taunt us, didn't he, with the old 5-0 thing every time there was a national series going on.
I mean, maybe that was Lyon just trying to do the sort of Glenn McGrath type thing, isn't it, and backfiring.
One of them needs to say something, or one of two of them need to say something, just to, because that's what happens when Australia play against England. They all predict 5-0, and maybe that was just Nathan Lyon's way of trying to get involved. I don't know, but hell of a bowler, Lyon, unbelievable. The amount of he gets and bounce. I think he does turn it, but I think it's the bounce he gets as much as anything that causes people so much trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, no, he was a class. Well, I wouldn't say he was a class apart, but he certainly bowled well when I was sort of watching him fairly close up for a sustained period. And you can see what quality he does have. What do you think of the facilities at Southampton now, Ian?
Yeah, they get better every year.
You do, don't they?
Yeah, I remember going the first time. I mean, they started playing there 2001, and I was at university then, so I didn't make it that season. But the first time I went 2002, I think it was the pavilion, and then just loads and loads of tents either side of it. A temporary media centre at the other end. And then it sort of gradually, I think they built the Warren and the Ingleby Mackenzie stands came along about 10 years ago, and the hotel arrived about 5 years ago. Been lucky enough to stay in the hotel a few times.
It is, it's
would
beautiful.
Recommend it.
Is the indoor? I remember 2010 I was there, and I seem to remember the nets being in the pavilion but upstairs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the back of the pavilion sort of built into a hill.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so it's sort of a cutting into the ground, and yeah, the nets are out the back there still. You've also got a nursery ground to one side.
Yeah.
For outdoor nets, but yeah, indoor nets are all still behind the pavilion.
Well, pavilion's kind of interesting in itself because it's got that kind of moorish, bit like the mound stand at Lords, doesn't it? And yet when you walk in, it's kind of like a giant atrium. So it's got a huge sort of almost open area.
What the main bit in the middle is called the John Arlott Atrium.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Okay, well, at least John Arlott's named somewhere. There is a Hampshire Association. I once, my poor other half, she came with me to watch Middlesex at Hampshire, early season game, freezing cold. And the upside was to stay in a hotel, but I hadn't actually told her we were watching cricket. I just told her that we were having it was a beautiful spa hotel near the New Forest.
Okay. That's what the brochure says.
Which, to be fair, had I lied, no, I hadn't. It is a very nice hotel. It is near the New Forest, and it has got a fantastic sort of gym, spa, and all of those wonderful things with it. So, did I lie? No, I didn't. And she did get a bit of time in the New Forest as well. That was also when the Manchester City team was staying in that hotel.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was staying because the football team. I got in the lift with Tim Murtagh. I wasn't following him around, although I'm a Murtagh fan. This was purely coincidental. I think it was Sadio Mane, Claudio Bravo, Vincent Kompany, and one other who I can't remember. And you'll know the hotel.
Did they think you were one of the kit men?
I don't know what they thought. But Tim. So anyway, I knew I nodded to Tim Murtagh.
Yeah, because I remember. We knew each other. Yeah, I remember City staying there, and it was when Pellegrini was in charge. And Joe Hart was in goal. And I can remember looking up because they were because that was funny because the media centre, when a big important football team staying to play Southampton, they actually turfed the media out and put them back in the old stand. And anyway, I was sitting with some friends, in front of where the media centre is, and there's the Man City team there, and you could see like various City players eating their pre-match meal and not particularly interested in what was going on, but you could see Joe Hart explaining to Manuel Pellegrini about cricket and what was happening.
Oh yeah, funny enough, we watched the City players, and they were all, one or two of them were out on the balcony, and you could clearly see that, you know,
it could be the same guy.
No clue. They think, what on earth is this ridiculous, weird ritual going on before me? But so there I was in this lift with Tim Murter, Claudio Bravo, Sadio Mane, Vincent Kompany, etc. And rarely do I get discombobulated by, proximity to sports greatness. But on this occasion, I was, I think, staying on there's 2 floors, isn't there? They were up on the second floor, the City players, keeping themselves very much themselves. They ate separately, they socialised separately, they were really kept apart. But I pressed where I was going. I think I was going up to there's the sort of an atrium level as well, isn't there? I pressed the wrong button anyway. I pressed the wrong button. And all the City players got out. Now, I was on the second floor, same floor as the City players, that's right, but I accidentally pressed the first floor. And the lift doors open. They all really naturally assumed that this is where they all got out. Vincent Kompany, who was clearly the leader, so he led them out the lift. They all followed with their headphones on, because they all had their, music systems on, like ducklings. And I suddenly looked at Tim Murter and I thought, fuck off, I pressed the wrong button. So I said, lads, I pressed the wrong button. You're on the next floor. And Vincent Kompany just shook his head and laughed. Tim Murter was in absolute fits of giggles. The others just literally were like quite robotic. Oh well, we'll just follow Vincent back into the lift then. And up we all went to the right floor that we needed to go to. And they all got out. And Tim Murter just looked at me and he's just like, you plonker. with no small amount of justification, to be honest.
I think City lost that day, and perhaps you had something to do with it.
What was this, sorry?
City lost, I think, that afternoon.
No, they won. So they won 3-0.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they won 3-0.
Yeah, it must have been another occasion that they stayed in.
Yeah, they won 3-0. It was also, I'll tell you, I think it was a draw. It ended up in a draw. It was definitely, I think it was the first game of the season for Hampshire and Middlesex.
Yeah, I think I remember the game.
Sam Robson dropped a catch in the slips in the process of celebrating the catch. It was one of those where he took it and threw it up all in one movement, because we'd been striving for a breakthrough, which we got, and then he dropped it as it came back down again, and he hadn't actually had it in his hands long enough for it to count as a catch, which was pretty rank village, to be honest, but then it happens to the best of us at times, and it happened to Sam Robson that day. But yes, no, the facilities there are quite, they get better and better. I remember being there for the 2008 when they used to have the blast, or whatever they called it then.
Finals day, yeah.
Yeah, finals day. I remember you used to have to park somewhere near Parkway Station and get a park and ride to the cricket ground, because there was nowhere to park. Which of course now has all improved. It still feels a bit sort of in the middle of nowhere, but at least there's decent links to get you there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that the ground and the location are slagged off a lot, and there was a lot of mistakes made in the early years, but I'd say if you haven't been for a while, when you're allowed, give it another try, because they have kind of got it sewn up now in terms of the organisation around parking, and they close off the roads around it and things like that, so give it another try if you're not sure. What I was going to say was, finals day, I think it's 10 years ago today that Hampshire won the finals day 2010 on that ground with a last over thriller against Somerset. And the facilities just improve every year, so anyone that's not sure and thinks, it could be a bit difficult, then give it another try.
Well, you will have another chance to give it a try by all accounts, because the Australian tour, which I think is a series of 3 T20s in September, the 4th, the 6th and the 8th, and 3 ODIs, all of the T20s on the 4th, 6th and 8th of September, will be at the Rose Bowl.
That, Tony Bishop, was seamless broadcasting.
Was it? Oh, well, thank you.
I'm saying, I want to applaud that. That was just unbelievable.
Well, they are. So you're going to see at least 3 more T20s, as well as obviously one more test. You've got another test yet there. It's also going to be the return of Glenn Maxwell, I think, within the Australian squad. It is kind of interesting. I mean, the one advantage for me is of really only playing your international cricket at 2 grounds. It does not make some of your notes quicker to compile, because you just have sort of to update. It's just formats, because obviously every time, you know, if it's a ODI or a T20, then your stats are going to be different of, you know, what's happened at the ground. But some of the notes just remain the same. So this summer's been pretty easy. I haven't had to redo notes from scratch. It's all been sort of adapting the two. I think to be fair, and Ian, you know, obviously you'll be a degree of bias, but you've got to take your hats off and applaud both Hampshire and Lancashire for how they've managed to stage this and work their way around the rules and regulations, and even without the crowd there, the quality has been fantastic, and clearly the players, the press and everyone else have been pretty well looked after, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose in some ways it's kind of they're kind of fortunate in that they had the foresight 10 years ago or whenever it was to think, well, how could we become less sustainable or more sustainable without cricket? You know, what can we build, what can we do that means we don't rely on cricket income so much? So they decided both grounds to build a hotel. And it's the hotel that's effectively won them the right to stage these matches.
Well, that was also a condition, I know, for Durham up at the Riverside. I mean, obviously they have the famous Lumley Hotel, and there's other hotels nearby, but that was very much next on their plan. More the Old Trafford model than because it's a 4-star hotel, isn't it, in Southampton, because it's got the spa element to it, whereas the Old Trafford Hotel, I think, is a 3-star because it doesn't have the spa. I'm not quite sure what gives you your stars, but they're both Hilton hotels, aren't they? And I think it's the Garden Inn that Durham at the Riverside were planning, hopefully still are. So that would give us a third option of different grounds to see. Hopefully, God forbid, this were to ever happen again. But it is for cricket. You know, it is forms of revenue outside of the game are essential to counties. It also means if you go and, you know, I went to watch Middlesex at Old Trafford, and obviously during the World Cup, the room I had would have probably been 12 grand. You know, to actually walk out onto your balcony to have just like the perfect view of the ground and the pitch. But obviously for a county game, it's next to nothing, as well as free entry to the ground. Because you've already kind of, you know, you get that with the hotel. And I met quite a few people who said, well, just, you know, why not? They come from various parts of the country and thought like me, well, what a great idea, just go and watch some cricket and you'll be able to stay in this great hotel while you're doing it. So, you know, when times are normal, it's an absolutely brilliant idea.
Yeah, I mean, we've stayed at the hotel watching matches, and there's been people in the next room like having a chat over the balcony, and they had absolutely no idea about cricket or that it was a pitch facing room, and just sort of used the opportunity to watch some cricket for the first time and thought, oh, I'll come back and watch a match.
Well, if you're a cricket fan, if you're a genuine cricket fan,
you'd
be excited just to throw back your curtains in the morning and see a test match ground literally panoramic view right in front of you. You don't need there to be a game on to get a little frisson of excitement when you saw that, I don't reckon. There's going to be some England women's series at Derby. So the poor ladies, they get the Travelodge, but the men get the Hilton. Somebody gave me a really bad time for being disparaging about slightly lesser forms of hotel, so I need to be careful what I say.
For any consideration, because they've got, is it Premier Inn at one end of their ground?
Where's that?
Worcester, New Road. Premier Inn at one end. I know it's not quite the same as the Hilton, but
it's not at all. Premier Inns are all right.
Training venues has been used, and I think Leicestershire were playing a couple of home matches in the BWT there, Bob Willis Trophy.
Yeah, they played there last week, I think.
Worcester's another ground that is just a beautiful, beautiful ground. I mean, that view from the old pavilion across to the cathedral is just phenomenal. They also have a wonderful restaurant there. I don't know if it's still there, called The View, which is kind of one end over the sort of the new pavilion at one end of the ground, and they do the most fantastic lunch. I had a very long liquid lunch with a friend of mine there watching Middlesex get stuffed. I'll tell you what, it was Shannon Gabriel absolutely ran through Middlesex like a knife through butter, and it rained a lot in between. So poor old Middlesex got absolutely steamrolled by Shannon Gabriel. But again, you know, I almost could put up with that because the food and the company was so good and the ground so beautiful. That was my first time actually at New Road, and it was just brilliant. Just brilliant.
It's flooded so much there, doesn't it?
Well, it does. Yeah, it does. They've had all sorts of problems there. They're right by it's the Severn, isn't it? Right by the River Severn.
Yeah, because if you go down to one end of the cathedral end, I think it is, they have like a yardstick where they list the dates and the depth of how high the floodwater got, and there's pictures of, you know, I think the worst of it was sort of 2007, and
is that the year of Tewkesbury?
yes, it will have been. Yeah, and I mean, I'm fairly sure in the last year they've had things. So they,
you know, over the winter again this year.
Yeah, I think most winters it flood, but they can't move because, you know, for example, when Hampshire moved from Southampton, they were able to sell the land in the city centre off for flats and residential, whereas Worcester, because it's on a floodplain, the land is absolutely worthless and haven't got the funds to move somewhere else. I'll just do some tweets there.
Brilliant.
Leah, yeah, sure, Turney, take some effing pride in being Tim Murtaugh's first stalker for F-Space. Katie's just saying about how TMS, some other cricket programme that's on, is one of the commentators there is saying about the ills of social media.
How does she know that? What's she doing listening to them?
Yes.
Yes. Boo. Nestler's a wealthy Aussie mate of mine offered me £10,000 on Australia winning 5-0 in 2005. I didn't take it.
Oh.
Wow. Perhaps should have done.
What news of Kicker, which I think was Aga's social media website. It all went a bit quiet after Aga's filmed his promo while flying a light aircraft for some reason.
Okay, that's Andrew Bogey.
Yeah, Andrew Bogey, thank you for that.
I don't know, I don't remember Kicker. I
don't think anyone does. I remember everyone joking about it, but I never actually saw what it looked like or what it consisted of. It was sort of like supposed to be social media without swearing.
Well, that wouldn't do so well for us.
No.
When the bear's on.
Well, yeah. Well, the bear on Twitter. The bear's not so much a Twitter man. Obviously, the videos go out on Facebook and YouTube and Crick Tracker on Facebook, and now Hot Mic, Sports Tiger. We're you know, there will coming a time when we're on just about every platform there is going, which is great because we get to entertain and enjoy the company of more people around the world, which is absolutely fantastic. Something about what's it, Knuckle? Everyone in cricket Twitter is just creating joke accounts. Oh yeah, there are. Yeah, you get a lot of joke accounts. What did disappoint me, in a kind of strange way, is I think the Is Stuart Broad batting account just folds me up. It's just so brilliant. Oh no, there is. It's got thousands of followers now. Is Stuart Broad batting, and it broadcasts when he is. It's like red alert that he is batting. It announced the winning of the toss by Pakistan and their selection of batting, saying denying Stuart Broad the opportunity to bat for at least another however long it may be. But I'd heard that Stuart Broad himself had blocked it, which seems to me like a massive sense of humour failure on Stuart Broad's part, because to me it's just really, really funny idea.
Well, especially as he was said to be one of the people involved or heavily joining the KP Genius Twitter account from way back in the day of 2012.
Yeah, so it all seems like a long time ago now, doesn't it? Very
Matt was mentioning the account claimed it's Broad's management that got the site rather than Stuart Broad himself.
Is that his dad again? Oh no, his dad just takes his pocket money when he's sworn, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think Chris Broad's just trying to claim back some rent to Stuart from when he was a kid. Now he's earning.
Yeah. all those lifts to various cricket grounds when he was 12, over his developing years. Right, son, I'm having some of that back. Every time you swear, it goes in the family swear jar, aka the ECB fund pot.
But Dad, it's December. I don't care. You're still being fine. If I'm not even playing cricket, I don't care. You're still being fine.
Indeed. There is, if you're wondering why this conversation is rambling and meandering and generally taking its own turn here and there, it is because bad light is still prevailing. There is no update for you, I'm afraid. Bad light has continued to stop play. It's a bit annoying, isn't it? Because, well, it's annoying generally, but we've already heard from Ian with his expertise that if the prevailing weather is coming from Southampton, there might be a chance of some play, whereas if it's coming from Portsmouth, basically we might as well pack up our sandwiches and wine coolers and head for home. But we don't know which it is.
I'm not sure by 5:30 there's any sandwiches left in the Gorilla Cricket tins, mate. To be honest.
No, there really is. I'm normally quite disciplined when I take my lunch to cricket.
Are you really?
I am. Well, I am. 12 o'clock. Play starts at 11, mind you, doesn't it?
Normally, because I have about an hour and a half stride to the Aegeus Bowl, I'm normally, as soon as I get there,
you're already hungry, are you?
Yeah.
You have a tough commute, don't you, up the Southwestern Railway line and then onto the Jubilee, Tony? So I can understand why you.
Well, not anymore. I don't do it anymore.
I
was working from home anyway. No, I have my commute to go and watch cricket.
Yeah,
or to go to London, but not for work. No, I don't do the work part anymore. Quite happy to avoid that.
I think it's 5 months tomorrow since I last commuted.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and I had 2 hour each way commute from Berkshire to East London.
Wow.
So
it's me.
I mean,
I enjoyed not having to go in.
I understand not wanting to move to Essex, but you know.
You're too far away from the Aegeus Bowl when you're allowed back in.
Okay, which county do you follow, Johnny?
A bit of an hodgepodge, really. So obviously, I'm from Cheshire, so Lancashire was always the county of choice. But I've lived in London for so long that I'd say I follow Surrey. And now I'm moving to Nottingham, so I'll be following Notts.
Notts, they're a curious.
They are so much
conundrum of a side at the moment. They seem to be perennially underachieving these days.
Yeah, well, they seem to have had this thing, don't they? Where James Taylor's a slight exception, but you know the next big thing. So like Ben Duckett came from Northants, didn't he? And they seem to sign these next great players who then, for some reason, just seem to fall into a bit of obscurity. Obviously, Alex Hales is there, isn't he? There was an absolute gun bowler who used to play there, like called Simon Roberts, who got let go for some reason. You know, was the next big thing, and then for whatever reason they let him go. He still can't believe it. It's a bit of an odd one. You'd think that being one of the major counties, they should actually challenge and win a lot more than they actually do.
They've given a second chance to Steve Hamid, though.
Yes,
they did well in the first Bob Willis game. So it'd be nice to see him do well.
Yeah. Because his career obviously was, the trajectory was vast, wasn't it, in terms of getting to the England side. And then I can't remember who it was who broke his finger on that tour, and then he fell out of love with, or Lancashire fell out of love with him. And then I think he was meandering around the 2 circuit for a while, and all of a sudden Notts have picked him up and he seems to be doing quite well again.
I don't know so much Lancashire fell out of love with him. They ran out of patience, and I think they were very, very patient.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, by falling out of love, like, what I mean is like they felt like they'd given him all the support he needed to, get back to a level that they expected him to, and for whatever reason that didn't happen. So then, as people do, they say, "Well, see ya."
Too much expectation, too young. Do we think? It's a curse that's done for many in many sports.
Yeah, quite probably. But the good thing is, A, he's got a second chance, and B, he's young enough to still get back to the top, isn't it? It's not like somebody's been dropped when they're 31 or late 20s. That there's still plenty of time for him.
He's probably only, what, 23?
I'd say younger. Yeah, mate, yeah, 22, 23. Anyway, still very young.
Yeah, no, he's plenty of talent, but he's like a Dom Sibley-esque, isn't he? Like, just bats time. Doesn't rush. Doesn't feel like he has to rush. Thinks, well, I'll be judged on how many I get, not how quickly I get them. And I think he was obviously picked in the England side for that reason. He just got that bad injury. Was it in Sri Lanka where he got hit?
Yeah, I think it was from memory. I'm sure Nakul. India. Obviously, when we throw out these sort of almost rhetorical self-musing questions, we know that Nakul will immediately leap on the answer and tell us what it is. If you think that we're just so brilliant.
I wonder who it was that hit him. Give it to.
Who was it? I wonder. Yes, who did hit him? That's a good question.
I think it's before Bumrah. So Shami, maybe. Who else have they had that's rapid in India? Shami can get it down at 88, 89 mile an hour.
Ishant Sharma,
yeah. Oh, well, quick enough to hurt you, I guess, if he hits you right on the end of the thumb or whatever it is.
I think Nakul's just teasing us now. I reckon he knows the answer. He's just not going to type it. He's going to see how long we can whip.
He looks like he's googling.
He looks like
in his records.
Is that what a man who's googling looks like? When you can't actually see his arms or any form of computer. Is that a Google face? Where I'm going to look at.
You go for the casual one-handed Google. Either that, or he's really,
as many have called it. Yes.
He's pissed off that we were winding him up about his microphone and not being able to use it before, so he's making us suffer.
I missed that. That's probably when I wasn't turning up because I was operating to a completely false timetable. In fact, to be honest, there is a job for Nakul at South West Trains, because with the accuracy of his scheduling, he'd be first in line as general manager for South West Trains, I reckon, should he ever choose to go in a transportation direction with his career.
Absolutely.
So I used to do the rotas for Guerrilla Cricket. Oh, when can you start? We want a timetable where people know how late the trains are.
Leah's given us an answer.
Brilliant.
Aaron.
Leah, has she out-Nakul Nakul? Was it Baron Aaron? Good Lord, was it, by Jove? Thank you, Leah.
He was quick, yeah.
Wrong sort of light on.
She also says, can't copulating wait to get to Hanover. The internet infrastructure in Munich is made from literal bamboo. Yeah, I know how she feels, because I've just moved house recently and I couldn't have fibre broadband. I think I was operating at about 3 megabytes per second if I'm lucky, and I'm up around 20 times faster now, so I wouldn't have been able to do GC from home if I was at my previous address.
We've had some challenges. By and large, it's worked unbelievably well, and it's in a strange kind of way. I'll big up the bear a little bit. We did the whole Dick Well Abroad trophy, and I reckon through doing that and figuring out how to do that on Zoom and actually make that interesting and exciting, and basically it's just people playing dice cricket, and show, to have set up the camera in such a way that you could actually show on the feed the throwing of the rolling of the dice, or whatever the pencil dice or whatever you call them, and it worked just so well that almost helped us to get to being able to do this so remotely. But we did have, at the height of the heat, when it was really, really, really hot everywhere, I think that caused all kinds of reception problems. So we had a couple of days where the feed that we're seeing was like jerky as hell and was missing out frames. And we had to go away and find other ways to watch it. But apart from those 2 days, it's been absolutely phenomenal. We've just cracked on with things. Been extraordinarily successful. Knuckle tells us Hamid had his hand broken by Umesh Yadav, and then again by James Harris. What? Our James Harris, Middlesex's James Harris. Okay, Baron Aaron was the bowler who rearranged Stuart Broad's nose. Okay, got it. So actually it wasn't Baron Aaron that accounted for Naseem Hamid. It was Baron Aaron who caused facial damage to poor old Stuart Broad. And probably something psychologically, you would say it's only in the last year that he started to get over.
Yeah.
Because his batting took a massive downturn, didn't he? From you used to think there's always like probably 30-40 in Stuart Broad, sometimes more. Remember that big 100 against Pakistan at Lords. But then it all fell away when he just backed away, and any bowler knew that he pitched it short, he'd be ducking away, and he's going to get himself in trouble and leave his stumps exposed. But he seems to have found a way now to cope with that.
Well, where he sort of looks like the last few tests he's gone back to just having a go, where he was trying perhaps to bat properly and couldn't really do it, and he's gone back to what he did about 10 years ago. He just had a go and played his shots, and it's working.
Well, we saw. I mean, at Old Trafford, it was a wonderful test match. There was just fantastic theatre hit all over the place, particularly as it wound towards the finish. But you had the impending new ball to be delivered while England were still not near the total, and as we started to calculate the total England needed, you started to realise unless they got a move on, they were going to have to deal with that second new ball. So they put Stuart Broad up the order, didn't they? So they clearly feel that they trust him enough. Now it didn't quite work out. What did he make? 12 from memory? I can tell you actually. I should have that here somewhere. If Knuckle doesn't get to it first, which he normally might. No, he made 7. He made 7 in the end. But nonetheless, the fact that they even thought it would be a good idea, Stuart, get out there, knock these runs off before the new ball, shows that they starting to see him in a different light again now.
Tweet Regav Krishnan. Did we look at the forecast the next 3 days? I think we might not even get 10 more overs in this match. I'd be very surprised if that was the case. Leah, internet connection speed generally measured in bit, not byte. My apologies. And she's saying that her internet was so bad that she thought we were talking about Broad, which is why she offered up Baron Aaron.
Well, we appreciate the help anyway.
Yeah, and Sports Tiger are with us, Armchair Cricket Podcast. Thank you for your tweets. Armchair Cricket Podcast saying, based on the amount of time lost so far, this is a 4-day test, and minus 250 is not a bad first innings total for Pakistan. They're saying they guess they were a bit harsh earlier.
Well, we're just looking to see if there's any updates. Floodlights burning, stumps in, not a soul in the park. Well, we know that already.
David Brooks drawn stumps.
Yeah, no, I saw that. He's got to take the dog for a walk.
Shame not to talk to you this night.
Does anyone know what kind of dog he's got?
No idea, actually.
I have met his dog at a petrol station on the way to Ireland. I think we picked him up and his wife was there with the dog.
What car was he driving? First of all, it's unusual to have a dog that drives, but nonetheless, what kind of dog has he got?
I can't remember what kind of dog it is.
I mean, big dog, small dog? Let's start with size.
I'd go for small to medium.
Not an ankle biter. Not a yappy ankle biter, but
I'm thinking something like a spaniel or something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, spaniels are lovely.
Yeah.
Question from Knuckle: what sort of fuel does the dog take?
But that's just sort of what I remember when, me and Hendo got him.
Mind you, I mean, taking the dog for a walk is quite often code for either nipping outside for a cigarette or just going around the corner to the pub. I've got to say, my local pub is full of dog walkers, and it's mainly you can see it's mainly people who have just tethered the dog up and probably only walked about 200 yards.
Well, I had
And they'll no doubt go home, having chucked a bit of mud on their boots. Said, "Oh, I've done 4 miles. No wonder the dog's tired." And they're like 7 pints down, But there we go.
I had to walk my son to the pub yesterday.
You took your son for a walk?
Yeah, because
he's only a tiny one, isn't he?
Yeah, 16 months, and he's not been going down for his sort of mid-morning nap last
So
few
you
days.
thought you'd try beer? A couple of beers to sort him out?
Yeah, I thought putting him in the pram, and normally the motion sends him to sleep. And by the time he fell asleep, we were outside the pub, so I thought, well, I'll have a couple of pints. The cricket was on the telly in the pub.
Oh, perfect.
And then when I think rain stopped playing and he started stirring, I thought, well, it's time to walk back home. So it was a successful afternoon all round.
You gave him half a pint of Stella and he had to sleep for another 6 hours.
Yeah, a little nip of whiskey in the milk, I reckon, there, just to keep him quiet until the rain had stopped play. Knuckle, what do we think our plan should be? Time for some highlights? Time for some alternative entertainment?
Well, we were just talking about dice cricket, which I very much enjoyed listening to, because I think the way that you guys commentated on that, when only looking at bits of dice being thrown into a ball, and the emotional, I think it's absolutely brilliant to listen to. I think it's
conclusive proof that the dividing line between genius and madness is a very thin one. The fact that you could make up all this nonsense in your head, and even I listen to it back and actually think I'm listening occasionally to a proper cricket game.
Yeah.
Except for the Bears' dodgy fat fingers and the fact that the ultimate winner was the original founder of guerrilla cricket. It's having had some very streaky results on the way through.
You listen to some of them, and obviously based on what comes down, it's like, oh, and he's played a missed at that. Oh wait, he's out. LBW, brilliant.
I know, like I said, it's a very thin line between genius and madness. I think I'd fall on the madness side. What are we going to play? Right, we're going to play the Naughty Boy. Oh, it's me. We're going to play. So we've got basically Test Match Special against Guerrilla Cricket here, because it's Naughty Boy Nets represented by Atif Nawaz, a side made up of players who captained, I think, by Hansi Kronya from recollection. And a bespectacled 11 that included the likes of Jeff Boycott. I nearly said Gary Barlow. Don't mean Eddie Barlow. Gary Barlow might have been interesting. And others. Derek Pringle. I can't remember my own team. But I do remember it was a very interesting game. I also remember it was quite funny, probably because Atif was a bit of a riot to work with. So if you're ready, it was a crunch game. And I won't tell you the score. I wouldn't want to spoil it for you. So, Knuckle, you ready to play that?
Yep.
Here it comes.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Take charge, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come. This is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. But first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act. But people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan,
'cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla Cricket.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome. Trent Bridge has hosted no less than 63 Test matches since 1899. You can bet, though, it's not seen anything quite like the Guerrilla Cricket Dickwell Abroad How's That Trophy. We were all set for this match on the 17th of May, but Zoomageddon put the kibosh on that. However, today, the pantomime villains meet the Mr. Magoos as Atif Nawaz and his naughty boy Nets take on my own Tony Bishop, making a spectacle of themselves 11 in a crucial Group B encounter, both unbeaten after round one, so something has to give. Atif, welcome, you feeling confident?
I am feeling confident. You know, like the last match that my team played, it was kind of one-sided. It was a little bit, and you'd think that would be unfulfilling, just kind of dominating the team, but it wasn't. I very much enjoyed it. I would very much like to repeat that. I'm very happy to be clinical and just kind of, just damage somebody. I want to hurt people in this tournament. I want people to look away from these Zoom sessions and think about it for the rest of the day. I want them to, have to call a friend and have to, confide in them how hurt they feel. I'm really enjoying inflicting some misery on people this tournament.
Well, you, for the record, of course, your naughty boys beat Hendo's Fat Lads by 4 wickets last time out. Other key persona today, our scorer and social media conduit, is the amazing Jules Farman, who, of course, in 2017 got to ring the Lord's bell as a cricket community champion. But surely, Jules, that's not a patch on today, is it?
No. If there anything, scoring at the home of cricket that is Trent Bridge is massively up there.
And of course, rolling and tumbling the dice for your viewing and listening pleasure, our very own shining star, Ursa Major, the Great Bear.
Thank you very much.
We all set and ready to go, Bear?
Yeah, we are.
Fantastic. Just a very quick reminder that during this whole Dickwell Abroad How's That Trophy, we are running the Dickwell Abroad How's That Very Loud Appeal, which is to help the amazing work of the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation in their work in prevention and cure for juvenile type 1 diabetes. There is a Just Giving page that's all over our social media. You can also, if you just Google Just Giving Dickwell Abroad, you will find it. If you give £15 or more, half of that goes immediately to support the incredible work of JDRF. So do please help us and help them out. But to business today here at Trent Bridge. Let's go to the toss. Atif, are you going to call for us?
Yes, I will call. So we got a coin?
We got a coin.
Okay, I call heads.
Oh, went out.
There we go. What were we saying earlier?
Tails it is.
Ooh, I think I will... I'm going to field first, I think. Going to put the naughty boys in. Give them a chance to misbehave early.
Oh boy, okay, it's first time batting first, let's do this.
Okay, Atif, do you just want to quickly run us through your batting lineup, and then I'll do the same for my lads?
Absolutely, so at the top I've got Hansi Kronia opening the batting with Mohammad Azruddin, both lovely chaps who you'd be happy to bring along to dinner, as long as that dinner was...
in a prison?
Yeah, in lockdown, I was going to say.
Oh.
Yeah, sure. Number 3, we've got someone who's who's definitely bought. He's never short on bags. Is Alan Lamb. Then we got Lou Vincent. He's pretty cool. He's a lovely guy. He always pays for dinner. Weird. Then we got Sully Malik, who is very used to those face masks that we wear in quarantine. He's had to wear them for some time. We've got Umar Akmal, who's very excited to play this tournament. It might be the only cricket he gets to play anymore, since his brother broke his PlayStation. Then we got Shakibul Hassan, the pride of Bangladesh. Marlon Samuels, who's looking stout as ever. Chris Lewis, fantastic, lovely guy. And Muhammad Asif, off cutters, leg cutters, whatever kind of grass cutters, he'll sell them all. And of course, you got Danish Canaria, Essex legend, and familiar with many wonderful institutions in the UK.
Hendo's favourite cricketer, seeing as he's named after a pastry.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. That's my lineup.
Okay, well, the bespectacled lads who are going to be just about stumbling their way out, falling over themselves as they go from the Trent Bridge dressing room. Geoffrey Boycott, Eddie Barlow, doyen of Derbyshire as he once was. David Steele, paid of course in lamb chops for that, for everything he does. Zahir Abbas, MJK Smith, my captain and erstwhile passenger of the Bear during the World Cup, the still nervous Clive Lloyd. Dick Young, the wicketkeeper. The redoubtable star of our theme tune, Percy Fender. Alf Valentine, of course, he of the famous Calypso. One change to my team. Jack Leach, being a man from Somerset, had an unfortunate accident when he trod on a rake and smacked him in the eye, breaking his glasses, so Paul Allott is in for him. And Devon Malcolm is the sharp end of my attack. So should we get to the game? Atif, I think you're taking us through the first session.
I think you are.
Let's rock and roll.
Right, we've got Hansi Kronia on strike. Who's he facing up to first up?
That's a very good question. He will be facing... We might as well open with Devon. Put up his nose from the first over.
Okay. And who's the non-striker batter?
The non-strike, the one at the
other end.
And is Mohammed. It's been a while. Sorry. The other guy is Mohammed Azruddin.
That's the words. Right, let's have some jingles. It's Hannity.
Is someone operating the website score card thing there?
Yes.
Always were a problem for you. So Hansi, tell me what would Jesus do? Selling out the game and what did you achieve? Hansi Kronia.
It's a bit harsh, but there you go. He is a naughty boy. And here's Devon.
Oh, Devon, Malcolm Devon, and his neck so small that you can hardly see. And in '94 the ciphers fell one by one. 9 for 57 from Devon Malcolm.
He's got a bit of Gladstone Small in there, hasn't he?
Well, I think so. I think he may have got his fast
But he got the bowling figures right. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, here we go. First ball.
Hansi Kronia on strike to the first ball from Devon Malcolm, and it has been... Oh my God, there's a big appeal. First ball of the match. What's happened?
Why am I not surprised?
What a decision. That looked really, really close to me. It just saw a little gesture from Hansi Kronia as if he was rubbing his two fingers together. I don't know what that meant, but the umpire seemed to nod and then all of a sudden go not out. Well, nobody knows what happened. One. Ball number 2. In comes Devon Malcolm once again. He's steaming in, and this time there's another appeal. Another big appeal from these guys. What's he going to do this time? He's been given LBW. Again, we saw the gesture from Hansi, but this time the umpire felt that he couldn't let it slide. Bang in front of the stumps. He's been given Hansi Kronia second ball. Duck. He's gone. Devon Malcolm, well, look at that. What a start from this young man. Anyway, it brings on to strike the new batsman, Alan Lamb.
He's Alan Lamb, stand aside. He's Alan Lamb, no longer tied.
Lam. Now what can he do as the naughty boy Nets are in precarious position? In comes Devon Malcolm, a third ball in a row. There's a big appeal. What is going on here? He's been given LBW. Devon Malcolm is on a hat trick. What a start to this game. Alan Lamb, first ball, wafts at that ball. Maybe he was trying to waft a certain fragrance right from his body that was dominating the environment. But as it happens, he has to walk off because Devon Malcolm's got him LBW. Alan Lamb is gone for a dud. My word, the naughty boy Nets are so there's a little bit of protest here. So Azruddin wants to check the ball, whether the ball is still in decent shape, because it's been landing in very unusually consistent areas as it happened so far. The ball, yeah, no, they checked the ball. The ball is fine. They will continue. Lou Vincent is the new batsman.
The fix is in. You know, what can I say?
And he takes, look at that. Nobody told Lou Vincent that Devon Malcolm was on a roll because he smashed that ball over the covers. Huge six. Says indeed, right. Lou Vincent looking to stamp some authority on this game. What will happen next? Gosh, you tell me. As the ball comes in, and this time he's just worked it into the gap, into the leg side for a quick single. My word, it's all happening. The crowd are on the edge of their seat. They don't know what to make of this. Azruddin on strike now for what I believe is the final ball of the first over. And this time he has just worked that. Oh, he's driven it nicely towards that mid-wicket boundary. He's going up that long hill. The fielder just pulls it in, gets it back in, but they run through for a quick three. Well, what an eventful over that was, I think. Is there another ball to come? We're just checking.
No, final ball. That was it.
That was it. That's it. That's the first over gone. It is 10 for 2 wickets.
Jules, are you doing social media, or am I today? Will you get
You can, that'd be great.
Righto. Well, we are joined, of course, by a few people. Linux Leah, ASL Mercenary, says, Gorilla Cricket, say what you will about Shakib. He sacrificed a year's paydays just to be part of this team. Mog, who's with us, who says, oh, all right, I'll tweet you. So we're glad you did, Mog. Leah said, in other NBN news, I heard Umar Akmal is appealing his ban. He probably should drop the appeal. And Leah's saying this match is suspicious, even by this tournament standards. What's
wrong with it, man?
Which are checkered, to say the least, as we know.
This hand is as clean can be.
Right, you've been watching it.
It may look
40 seconds, I expect.
Well, bowler's name.
Who's the
bowler? He rolls with this hand.
Bowler's name.
The bowler's name. Well, pace seemed to start, so I want to go with someone just as fierce, but I haven't got one. So I'm going to let Paul Allett loose and see how he operates from what's the non-pavilion end at Trent Bridge? I should know, shouldn't I?
Should do, but I haven't a clue.
Does you have a jingle with Paul Allett?
Yeah, we do. It goes like this.
Yeah, I guess he's okay.
At Cliff Road.
Here's the kicker. He was 6'4". He should have bowled much quicker.
Oh, I like that. Is that a Run DMC track or something like that?
I don't know.
No, isn't it?
Funky
Faith
Cold
No
Medina
More.
Man. Huh?
Faith No More, isn't it?
Ah, okay.
Faith No
Could
more.
be.
Lou Vincent on strike now, as in comes Paul Allett, steaming in, and his first delivery has been, oh my god, there's a big appeal. Was that a caught behind chance? Something? No, it wasn't. It looked like it took the edge, but it didn't. There was a big appeal from the side, the spectacle side, but it turns out should have gone to Vision Express because they're the only people that I know that are currently doing eye tests remotely. Anyway, Paul Allett back to his mark.
Should have gone to Barnard Castle.
Yeah, of course.
Azruddin has got.
He has indeed.
He should have 3 to his name. Oh, was that the next ball? Sorry,
That's the next ball. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, we nearly missed a ball because but that one says, oh, look at that. It's gone to the boundary, the leg side. We don't know quite how it happened. Probably flicked it. What a lovely flick he has. 4 more to Lou Vincent. It's Lou Vincent. Sorry, it's Lou Vincent.
It's Azruddin.
It's Azruddin.
Oh, sorry, he took 3 at the end of the last over. Oh my word, I'm being racist all over again. I didn't even know. 4 runs to Azruddin. Sorry.
2 plus 2 is all man.
Very good. In comes Paul Allett again for the next delivery now, and he bowls, and this time we do see what happens. He's just flicked that wristy shot through the leg side, races away to the boundary. Another one for Mohammad Azruddin, who moves into double figures. He's on to 11 now, and he's building up with his speed hand as right delivery. What's he gonna do this time? He bowls and oh, that was close, but just a thicker chance. I just guided to the third man region. They take a single and have a little chat. I wonder what they're discussing. Probably the Tiger Hunter. Like, mouth the words Carol Baskin. Next delivery, in comes Paul Allett, and this time another single to that third man region. They seem to be happy to take these singles and keep the conversation going. Azruddin took a single, and then Vincent took a single as well. Right, Azruddin back on strike now. As in comes Allett, and there's a big appeal. It struck him quite pretty close. It is LBW. Yes, it's been given. Well. Just as Azruddin was starting to look good, Paul Allett has followed Devon Malcolm's lead and taken another wicket very, very quickly. Azruddin is out.
I won't look back, 'cause by the time that I do, you'll be gone.
Right, I believe there is one more delivery to come in the over. The next batsman.
No.
End of the over.
End of the over.
Sorry,
I missed a ball somewhere there, but never mind.
So
you're rubbish. That's why Jules is the scorer and you're not.
Precisely. Yep.
There should be 20 for 2 at the end of 2 overs.
For 3.
3.
20 for 3. Yes, of course. How could I forget?
So he went for 10 as well.
You're trying to pay off the bloody match umpire now, huh? Right.
Well, we have had a couple of tweets. Radcliffe Road End, Leah's kindly telling me. It did come to me when I eventually, as happens with age, my memory goes a bit peculiar. Mog, Faith No More Bear.
Okay.
Mog says it's my favourite band, which he puts in very large capital letters.
Good band.
Durban Oak, hello there, wants to know why Alan Lamb is a naughty boy. That's a good question. Why is he a naughty boy, Atif?
Well, allegedly he likes to visit certain people who like to sell certain things that are legal in certain parts of Colorado.
Well, that's all clear.
But they certainly were in the 1980s and 70s when you played.
Matthew Engel, who of course is a massive North Hats fan, did say that he used to strut around the county grounds like Napoleon, and he never lost his accent nor his attitude, and there was something about the colonial chancer about him, none of which make him that naughty really, but I think it's an attitude thing. You got him in for just an abrasive attitude, haven't you? And nothing wrong with that. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No, also because I just saw that Ian Botham was in one of the other teams. And,
he's in several of the other teams as far as I can work out.
Yeah, no, and I was annoyed that I couldn't have Botham for mine, but I don't know, there's something just quite, he looks like the kind of guy that would pull the fire alarm and get you in trouble for it, so, I had to pick him.
Fair enough. Devon Malcolm, I'd be a bit stupid to take him off after that first over.
Indeed.
And he's the new batter as well.
Yes, the new batsman is Pakistani match-fixing legend, Salim Malik.
Salim Malik, the cupboard is bare. Don't claim poverty brought you despair.
Salim Malik, here he comes to the crease with his moustache still intact after all these years as he faces up to Devon Malcolm. He's on a roll. What's going to happen? In he comes, and oh my word, that screen has gone really small, so I can't see it. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah, three runs for Salim Malik, who's off the mark immediately. Right, if I just click on it, that shan't happen again. Very good. Vincent back on strike now. Malcolm, what's he
Malik on strike.
It's Malik on strike.
Oh, so Vincent took the 3. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Now Malik's got 3. Oh, there we go. It all kind of worked out, didn't it? 3 for Vincent, 3 for Malik in identical fashion. Thank you very much, Jules. I appreciate it. Vincent is now back on strike?
Yes.
Of course he is. I can't tell the difference. I don't see race. Anyway, oh my word, there's a big appeal for LBW. My word, what's going to happen now? He's been stumped. Well, for the first time in his career, Devon Malcolm has got somebody out stumped. Unbelievable. How did Lou Vincent make that happen? I've got a couple of theories. I'll tell you after his jingle.
So get on your bike and take a hike right out of here. Your history, no good for me. Your history, nah.
Did I just see the bear checking the no ball thing was working there while we were away?
No, not at all. Man.
That's pretty. You know, this is pretty. So who's the wicketkeeper? I didn't notice the wicketkeeper there. You wouldn't. Who was it? Enlighten me.
My wicketkeeper is Dick Young.
Look at that. Well, what a dick. Great performance there behind the stumps. From
He's about 107 now.
Oh,
So he's doing pretty well.
He's doing pretty. That's just a great name. It doesn't seem to fit him from any perspective, but wonderful. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So that's a 4th wicket to fall, and it brings to the crease PlayStation fan, great eater, and current cricket bannee, Mr. Umar Akmal.
Ooh. I thought you were going to go for someone else. Now I've got to go and find him now.
Oh, really? Who did you think it was going to be?
Oh, I thought it was going to be Shaki.
Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal.
Baz, we just ripped a bit out of the theme tune. It's fine. Right then.
Right, Umar Akmal is now on strike with Devon Malcolm, who's a bag of tricks today, and he's got immediately another big appeal. And what's going to happen now? We're knocked out. Umar Akmal cleared his blushes. We thought we might have another stumping there. Devon Malcolm, bizarrely, is bowling leggies out the back of his hand. Nobody's seen this before. He's taking the peas. In comes Devon Malcolm again to Umar Akmal once more, and this time, and oh wow, well that was streaky. That was very, very streaky. Umar Akmal going for a drive, edges it, and it goes between the 1st and 3rd slip. Why is there not a 2nd slip? Well, I don't know. Like, why? They probably didn't see it, but I can't make jokes about spectacled people, especially when there's. I think all 3 of you are wearing glasses. So okay, so we're not gonna do that. So anyway,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
One to come.
One to come. Thank you so much. One more delivery from Devon Malcolm, and Umar Akmal will retain the strike as he guides this with a little bit more control to 3rd man. Very slowly. Oh, there's a fumble out there in the deep, and the fielder has thrown it to another fielder. Oh, they run for another one. Okay, they've got 3 in the end. And that is the end of the over, which should take the total to 10 plus 11 plus 12. 33 for 4.
Okie dokie. Well, I suppose again, Paul Allett got off to a pretty good start with that LBW of Azruddin. So we're going to keep him on. From what we have established, of course, is the Radcliffe Road end, thanks to next Leah's help. Dave Wood, by the way, says, I can see Hansi gesturing to the umpires from the balcony. Cameras don't miss anything. Oh, in fact, Mog, there's quite a few. I'm going to jump in with these. Mog says, did you not know Lamb was done for fleecing the RAMS mortgage group? Very good, Mog. We love a pun or two. The next Leah says, was expecting something like suffocation. A bit disappointed, not going to lie. I'm not quite sure if that relates to Mog's thing or not. Not Fred Titmus. The new batsman is the Pakistani match-fixing legend. Narrow it down a bit, Atif Nawaz. Durban Oak says, isn't Srinath in the Naughty Boys squad? That's definitely one for you to answer. Is he or isn't he? I can't remember.
Well, we did consider Javagal Srinath, but he was just slightly too honourable to join the list. So.
Wow, mind you, that's not saying a lot, is it?
No, just a little bit too much honour, sadly. So, in any case, shall we proceed? Right, who's going to continue? Allett.
Paul Allett, yes.
Paul Allett to continue, and he's bowling to Umar Akmal. And that's been smashed. My word. Well, that was a very pedestrian pace, very extraordinary shot. Over mid-wicket, humongous 6. Look at that, he's flexing there a little bit, Umar Akmal. He's Six. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was 6. Umar Akmal on strike now. What's Alec going to reply with? And he comes and there's a big appeal immediately. Is that going to be given? Yes, it is. The stumping. My word, Dick Young is on fire. Yeah, make sure you get those words in the right order. So that's right. He's got a stumping. Paul Allett takes the 5th wicket.
All of the dreams that I dreamed were mine are gone.
Who did you get there?
Umar Akmal gone stumped to Allett for 14 runs. Top scorer so far. Malik not out on 3 here. These are the non-strikers. And the new batsman is the Bangladeshi sensation, Mr. Shakib Al Hasan.
Shakib, 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 Palace and play for Worcester.
He did. He did indeed. He's on strike now to Paul Allen. And immediately there's a big appeal. My word, what is going on today? He's been given not out. Big appeal there from Dick Young, who was spreading his arms, just trying to make as much noise as possible, but given not out in the end. Anyway, Shaki is still on strike. Another appeal. What is going on here? And this time again, another not out. My word. The Bulls are doing very peculiar things today, I must say. In comes Shaki Bull. So in comes Paul Allett, and he's been hit for three down the ground. Didn't quite have enough power on it from Shaki to get the boundary, but he'll take three. He'll be glad to get off strike because Paul Allett is all over him like a cheap suit. In comes Allett once again. One more. This time three for Salim Malik, who is trying to get a little bit more control on this game for the Naughty Boy Nets, who lost way too many wickets very quickly. 5 down now. Trying to recover another 3 to the score. Is that the end of the over?
Yeah, it is indeed.
It is.
Okay. The score is I'll tell you exactly what the score is because I'm very good at doing maths while I speak. 37 plus 3 is 40 plus 6 is 46 for 5, right?
Is that right, Jules?
Close, but no cigar. It's 45 for 5 or 4 overs.
Oh gosh.
You're not very good. You just leave it to Jules, man.
Yeah, that's,
You got the score.
Exactly. We have a score. She will tell us the score.
While you compose yourself. Linux Leah says, Umar's nephew, very aware of his family reputation in this picture. She sent a picture of what looks like someone holding a baby, which I presume is Umar. But his nephew has a very strange look on his face. Mog says, underrated tweet. I'm not sure which one that refers to. Knuckle Pandy says, Srinath, not Srinath. Very different, overly intense Indian fast bowlers, presumably, well, I can't say what this. Tony Bishop, tone, beard and new haircut. Someone told me I look like Alistair Cook the other day. I can see that. Linux Leah says, gonorrhea young. Oh, Lord. There we go. He'll be getting the clap from the crowd.
Ooh. Next bowler, please.
The next bowler, well, I suppose in theory, shall I continue with Devon? He's had 2 pretty good overs. I think I might just hold him back. So I think it is time for the man who took a hat-trick last time out. Yes, indeed, the only hat-trick of the tournament so far, the man from our theme tune, the Maverick from Surrey, Percy Fender.
No surrender, Percy Fender.
No surrender, Percy Fender. It's even on a t-shirt, that one.
Yes, it is indeed. You can get that from the Gorilla Cricket website.
You can indeed.
Yeah.
Right, here. He's going to face up then.
And he comes now, and he's bowling to Malik. He is bowling to Malik. Yes, it is. And then he comes in his first delivery. He's been smashed. Look at that. Look at Salim Malik rolling back the years with that beautiful lofted straight drive. Percy Fender with a little loosener there. Just loosening those shoulders. I think he's distracted by his own theme music. 6 runs. Number of the beat. And he comes Percy Fender once again, and this time, another humongous 6 from Salim Malik down the ground. Fantastic. He's in control. He likes this length here from Percy Fender, and he's going after him. Another 6.
2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row.
Nicely done. Percy Fender, what can he do with his 3rd delivery? And he's been hit for 4 this time. Similar sort of shot, but just 1 bounce into the fence this time. Trampbridge is a big ground to clear, and Salim Malik is of advanced years, so he gets it well, but just for a 4. Yes, indeed. What can Mr. Fender do? He's really struggling. He's been hit for all sorts in this over. This time he'll be glad to see the back of Salim Malik, who takes 3 to mid-wicket and brings Shakib Hassan on strike. Mr. Fender, they're not related to the guitar manufacturing company, and he comes this time. Oh my word! Shakib Hassan has joined in on this act. He's hit a huge 6 as well, down the ground, big 6. Yeah, well, he might have to look into buying guitar, like guitar salesmanship or something, because he's really struggling here to defend it. He's been smacked all over the place, and he ends his over with a 3 runs. to Shakib Al Hassan this time. Let's just say he went for a reverse sweep and got 3. And I believe that is the end of the over.
Should have started with Darren Tone.
Yeah, how many did that go for, Jules? That over? Way too
So
many.
that over went for 28. The score is currently 73 for 5 off 5 overs, and Malik is on 25 off 6 balls.
Wow, not a good tactical switch on my part there, or rather on the part of Clive Lloyd, who's channeling my thoughts for the fielding. So I think it's time for a bit of slow left arm wizardry. The man immortalised by Lord Beginner in the Victory Calypso. It's going to be Alf Valentine.
Coming up, this time, the image of a man aging like fine wine. Alf Valentine, Alf Valentine.
Alf Valentine bowling to
Al Hassan.
Yeah, Shakib Al Hassan on strike to Alf Valentine. Alf to Al Hassan. I like it. It sounds like a radio message as that first ball has been hit for 2 runs, 2 into the covers. Shakib will keep the strike, and Alf will run in, and this time the ball has been hit for 4. Oh God, so close. It was aerial. It was very aerial as it went through the covers, and there was a big diving effort from one of the chaps in the bespectacled 11, but he dived the wrong way, and it went for 4 more runs.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
In comes Alf once more, and this time it has been hit for another 4 in identical fashion, this time going the other side of that point fielder. My word, he's playing games with him right now, Shakib.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And in comes the bottom one, and another boundary. Oh, boundaries are raining for Al Hassan.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
It is indeed Shakib Al Hassan. Look at that, bringing his team back into action. In comes Alf once again, and there's a big appeal this time. There's a big appeal. This is the first time for a while, and it's been caught. Oh, well, finally, that fielder at point dives in the right direction, and he manages to catch it in his armpit. Oh my word, extraordinary teams. But after all that pounding, Alf has taken the wicket, and Al Hassan has to go.
Somebody say something?
Oh, sorry, I thought the field was still going.
Who's coming to bat?
Shakib is gone. Yeah, no, it was a good innings. That good little cameo knock, but it will bring to the crease another man capable of many dangerous things. It's Marlon Samuels.
Oh, he's got a great jingle.
Chaka, chaka, chaka,
He
chaka,
ignored
chaka,
all
chaka,
the bowling
chaka,
manuals.
chaka.
Marlon Samuels.
Outstanding. One of the greatest jingles of all time. He is on strike. He's facing out. Oh, was that the end of the over? The last ball?
1 ball left, I think.
Oh, 1 to come. I beg your pardon. 1 to come. Marlon Samuels is marking up his guard very aggressively. In comes the delivery, and he's worked that away nicely. Marlon starts with a decent little cuck into the leg side, gets himself 3. That ends the over, and I shall refrain from giving the wrong score.
So the score after 6 overs is 90 for 6, and Valentine went for 17 off his first over.
But he did take a wicket, bless him. Yes, now, Mog was saying Jules or Mark Long. So obviously you're incognito today, Jules. Grubby says, Tony Bishop... Oh, Grubby's tweeted earlier says he looks like Alan Cork, not Alistair Cook. So, I don't know how I got that wrong. Or nonetheless, Knuckles saying Tony misreading Srinath as Srinath and Alan Cork as Alistair Cook, showing precisely why he got to have the tenure of ownership for the bespectacled can't see their way out of a paper bag 11.
Hold on. It's Sri Santh, isn't it?
Sri Santh, yes.
Okay, because you said Srinath and Srinath.
Yes, I'm getting them confused. I think that was Knuckles' point.
Oh yeah.
Come on, people. Come on.
Due apparently because of my
Spectacles.
Pure poor prescription. Linux Leah says, yeah, Tony's Twitter app sometimes seems to omit the latter parts of tweets, so he didn't even see the hussy bit. Oh lord, you're right, Linux Leah, it does. I have to click on a link. I will do that next time. Morg says, can we get Atif on more? I do like the way he grooves to the jingles. There you go. See?
There you go.
I need to find you a bowler, don't I, for the next over?
Yep.
And I think we might just ask Percy to go and have a blow after that unmitigated disaster. And we are going to stick with a bit of slow left arm, actually. The man who gets paid in lamb chops from Northamptonshire, David Steele's going to whirl his arm.
Doesn't matter that he's great or he's specky, cause he can play. It's David Steele. It's David Steele.
Yeah, that grooving was just for you, Mog. Okay. Marlon Samuels now on strike to David Steele, who comes in, and there's a big appeal first ball. Well, what will happen there? And he's not ball. No ball. David Steele has overstepped the mark. No ball. First extra of the innings. Is there a free hit in play? I'm just checking.
No free hit.
No free hit. Just worth checking. Obviously, the batsman wants to be sure. Anyway, the next delivery. It doesn't matter. He's gone after it like it's a free hit anyway, and he smashed that. David Steele's just bewildered right now because how did he hit that ball flat bat behind the wicketkeeper over his head for 6? Yes, indeed, it was 6. Marlon Samuels on 9 now. He's on strike. In comes Steele. What can he do this time? And he just works him away comfortably round the corner for a little single to the 45 fielder. Now David Steele gets to have a little crack at Salim Malik, who's been left off strike for quite some time. He's finally back on strike. And his first delivery, oh my word, he's hit it for a 9. No, wait, it's a 6. The 6 is smashed over mid-wicket for a huge 6.
Wow. And that 6 brings 100 up, so the Naughty Boy Nets are on 104 for 6 in their 6.3 overs.
Right, getting back to a respectable total here. In comes Malik. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's, Steele has been worked for a single by Malik. Just one. And in comes Steele once more, and this time, oh, that's a lovely shot, isn't it? Just gorgeous. You love to see it, just slicing it like Roger Federer if he played cricket and hit the ball sideways instead of in front of him. 4 runs.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
That was Marlon Samuels with the boundary, sorry. And one to come, Marlon Samuels on strike, and he finishes the over with a 2. A nice little 2. And that completes the over. A fruitful one for the Nets.
Whilst Jules works out the score, Durban Oak says, this seems to be well below the Dice Cricket par score of 240. Well, yes, but I think there's a good chance that the tail may wag for the naughty boys. Mog says, champagne grooving indeed, in acknowledgement of the bedroom moves of Atif.
That's a very hypnotic head wiggle there, and we've got 111 for 6 after 7 overs. Steele's over went for 21.
And we're going to ask Alf Valentine to carry on. He did get punted for 17, but nonetheless he did take a wicket, so we're going to persist with him.
Yep, Alf to continue. He's going to be bowling to Salim Malik, who's on strike. He's been the best of the bat so far, and he continues to show why with a gorgeous covered drive. It's raced along the ground all the way to the fence for one of these.
4.
Yes, indeed, 4. Salim Malik still remains on strike. In comes Alf Valentine, and oh my word, is this gonna be Valentine's Day? It might be, because he's got him LBW. Well, Salim Malik has played a blinder, but his innings has come to an end with a gorgeous delivery. Just nips back in off the seam or the surface or something, or maybe a 50 pence point. Anyway, it struck him bang in front. Malik is gone. Wicket has fallen out. Yeah, gone for sure. He managed to. Salim Malik, well, against the knock there, he managed to get.
Come on, Jules, help him out.
Can I have a new batter? And I can tell you because I'm on my screen, so I'm waiting for a new batter.
Oh, right.
We got Chris Lewis as the new batsman.
Sorry?
Lewis.
Chris Lewis.
Okay.
But we're never gonna get a cocaine unless we call him Chris Lewis.
Yeah, it's the man who will probably never get to go to Dubai. It's Chris Lewis who comes to the crease.
Well, wanna go.
Just an acknowledgement of that knock from Salim Malik, who managed to score a wonderful innings of
36 of 10 balls, including 2 fours and 4 sixes.
Nice. That's what he was known for back in the day, T20 cricket in the 1980s. So anyway, in comes Alf Valentine, but into Chris Lewis now, who's on strike, and his first delivery, and there's a big appeal, first ball. Oh my word, big appeal, and he's been stumped. Oh my word, Chris Lewis is beside himself, probably because he hasn't hung out with his friend from Northamptonshire for a few weeks, but also because he's been stumped first ball, and Alf Valentine is on a hat-trick.
Now you're gone.
Yeah, indeed. Another beautiful piece of glove work there from Dick Young. And Valentine, yeah, he's on a hat-trick right now. To face the hat-trick delivery, we're going to have Mohammad Asif come to the crease. Yes, Mohammad Asif, who spent a lot of time at Trent Bridge, obviously. He was very successful there. Not as successful at institutions like the Southwark Crown Court and Fulton Young Offenders Institute. And he comes to the crease anyway. Mohammad Asif is facing up to Alf Valentine, who's on a hat-trick. What can he do with his hat-trick? Ball! Oh! Has he got his hat-trick? Has he got a hat-trick? Oh,
come on!
Yes! Valentine takes a hat-trick. Wow, Mohammad Asif has been
lovely cricket.
Unbelievable scenes here at Trent Bridge. The crowd is climbing onto Alf Valentine. We're going to try and get the spectators off the pitch. You listen to the music. Well, that special hat-trick from Alf Valentine has put the Naughty Boy Nets on their knees. But with only one batsman remaining, the final batsman to come to the crease is Canaria.
Danish Canaria, he's not superior. He doesn't even come from Denmark. He'll be forever known as Match Fixer.
Oh man, I could totally groove the Match Fixer. My word, they're in a lot of trouble here right now. Naughty Boy Nets, they got to do something here. Canaria on strike. Valentine has got 3 from 3. Can he get 4 from 4? A lot of pressure on. In he comes. Valentine. He might get 4 from 4. He might get 4 from 4. We've got a big appeal. What's going to happen? Oh! Wow. I mean, that was a superb effort, a 4 and a 4 ball, but Valentine, well. Remember the name because he might not. Alf Valentine. He's thankfully for the Naughty Boy. Oh, he's still got 1 ball to come. He can still get 4 in the over. And he comes, bowls, and he's been worked away for 3 by Danish Canaria. Top edge there, which just flies over the head of the keeper, and he has to go chasing it. And eventually they cut it off. 3 runs to Canaria, and a bit of respite for the Naughty Boy Nets as Alf Valentine takes a bow as he walks over to that Trent Bridge pavilion, and as the crowd cheers. Wonderful.
Well, the victory.
So that Valentine over went for 7 runs. There was 3 wickets in it. So he's for his 2 overs, 24 off 4, and overall score is 118 for 9 wickets after 8 overs.
Knuckle Pandy says Marlon Samuels showing, and this is obviously we've skipped a few tweets here and gone back in time. Marlon Samuels showing the value of a number 8, Gary Naylor, a position where he has an international batting average of infinity, apparently. What else are we saying? Linux Lear says, I can see exactly how this will play out. Atif's team makes about 15 more runs, then every appeal, and then this is where I have to wait because it disappears off to another part of Twitter. You have to keep your tweets shorter. No, I can't wait for it. It's going to take too long. I'll try and come back to it later. Moggs, disturbing lack of no balls today. Have you got the rest of that tweet?
No, I haven't, but I assume that's what it's about. It's about the no balls. Everyone assumes that I cheat.
Well, I know. I certainly don't think you're cheating today. We'll wait and see what happens when I'm batting. Durban Oak says, everyone remembers David Steele. I wish people would remember his brother John Steele. Quite right. Mog says, karma being visited upon the naughty boys from the righteous hand of Alf Valentine. Diana Patterson, hello Diana, says, well, there is some weird stuff happening in this match. I suppose it's not surprising. And no, you're probably right, Diana. All kinds of weird things happen. So, bowling change. Let me see. That was inspired by Clive Lloyd to give Alf a second over. David Steele wasn't quite so impressive, was he? Percy Fender was an absolute disaster. I've got 1 wicket to take. I've conferred with Clive Lloyd. He was shaking and having just got out of the back of Bear's car. But once he'd collected himself, he is going to say, bring Devon back. So that's what we're going to do.
Well, Devon Malcolm, back in the attack. Are we having a jingle again?
Devon,
yeah.
Malcolm Devon.
That's it. They finally called it. Can they even be heard? Remarkably anticlimactic, and fittingly in some ways anticlimactic end to the day. I can't. There we go. Stumps have been called. The umpires have had enough of looking at not light, and so we end today on a day where there were just over 40 overs possible of actual play. Pakistan end 223 for 9, which looked a hell of a lot better than it might have been before that partnership between Mohammad Rizwan and Mohammad Abbas. Credit also to Shaheen Shah Afridi and Yasir Shah for sticking around for a little while. Also, Babar Azam scored some runs earlier on today. Pakistan fought hard, then ran into Stuart Broad in inspired form, and then managed to eke out some quick and annoying runs from England's point of view, and quick and very valuable runs from their own point of view, as England mildly lost the plot with the ball. Perhaps a competitive total if we get enough play tomorrow and for the subsequent days for it to be a factor. We'll be back, we hope, at 10:45 a.m. UK time tomorrow morning. But until then, from everyone here at Gorilla Cricket, goodbye, and go and do something more useful than sitting around watching it not be sunny for the last 2 hours. Bye-bye.